Regionals 10-day. How's it going?
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Renatus J.A.M. My name is Jay Stark, and joining me, as always, is my fearless co-host,
Mr. Matt Snyder.
Mr. Matt Snyder. Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
how are you today?
I'm fantastic. How are
Fantastic. I am great.
you? Yeah.
I'm really great.
You look great.
Thank you. I feel great. I feel like I look great.
Well, you deserve it.
It got weird here just all of a sudden.
Well, you know.
So, it's so funny. Our special guest, who shall remain nameless for another minute or two, is laughing in the background at us.
Yes.
All right. Man, I totally lost my train of thought.
I love that. When Mike Word was on, he was trying to. There's a screen
my
right here
gosh.
that's off camera. Like, you're not going to be able to see it, but that's where I see. Right, that's where I see our guest. And when Mike Word was on, he was making faces at me and trying to. He was just laughing and doing all sorts of stuff. It was distracting.
Nice. I like it. I like it. And he's very
Yeah. I love it, man. He was making me laugh.
I tell you what, meeting Mike is just. It's so much fun. And then when we were up at that Everest Real Estate Conference and had our little impromptu. Never mind, you weren't there. Never mind. I'll speak to the camera because our guest was there. We were up at the Everest Real Estate Conference and had an impromptu little concert.
Jam sesh?
Jam session. And Mike came out, and man, not only is he just smooth like butter, his rhythm is impeccable, but man, he is so animated when he performs. Just his face, his body, all of it. He's got so much energy that he puts into it.
It's fun.
Love
it's
it.
Fun.
Well, welcome everybody. Mr. Snyder, what is new and exciting?
Well, we've got regional season upon us.
Oh my goodness. It is Denver kicks off in
like 2 weeks or less.
It's not even like a full 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like
is
10 days or
Hang on, let me see.
It's the 28th of September, I believe.
It starts the 30th. The 28th is probably when people are traveling, so it's 2 weeks and 2 days. Now, if you don't count today and you don't count the day of, it is 2 weeks even.
Yes.
Till we kick off
the
regional season.
That's right. So
now,
on the 30th and the 1st, right? So
I happen to know that the Denver Regional hasn't been hosted since 2016. There's been no regional. And this time around, we're calling it the Denver Regional. It's really the Colorado Regional because I think that they're actually hosting the bulk of the events in Boulder, which is like 45 minutes outside of Denver.
Close enough, right?
It's pretty close.
We're in Centerville, but it's Salt Lake City.
That's true.
Same difference,
that's true.
Right? So, yeah.
But this is going to be an unprecedented regional.
Yeah.
Not only with the people that are going to be there, the trainings, the location, the prestige, the grandeur of the event is going to be off the hook.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
Especially knowing those involved. It's going to be off the chain.
Well, I said hook, you said chain. It's going to be off of something.
It's going to be off things.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really good.
It.
So here's what we've done today. As of today, we have started to put all of the updates for the upcoming regionals into the Renatus Rocks Facebook group. So if you are wanting kind of the latest and greatest when it comes to the regionals, get into the Renatus Rocks Facebook group right now. Now you'll notice we're already talking about going out and registering for these different events, and there are a couple of the regionals that are not yet on the Renatus calendar. You can take the dates that we've provided to the bank. The regional will take place on those dates, and so you can start making accommodations for your travel and everything now. You can start getting that all in place.
We got those dates.
Will you put those up one more time?
Those dates up.
But go ahead and take a look at these dates and just realize that you can make your arrangements right now. And then as soon as they get on the calendar, you're going to want to make sure that you get your seat. Some of our venues will have more limited seating than others. And so, just prepare right now. But I know for a fact that Denver is on our calendar. DC is on the calendar, as is our Phoenix Regional. It's those other three, Chicago, Florida, and Salt Lake. I think by the end of the week, those will all be on the calendar as well. So by the end of this week, you should be able to not only find them all on our calendar, but you'll see them in the Renatus Rocks Facebook group. where you're going to get the latest and greatest with updates. Now, with regards to the Denver regional, I know that this Friday is like the cutoff for all of the, if you're hoping to get an award, you have to be registered by Friday.
I see.
If you're looking to take advantage of any of the early bird discounts, which I think have already expired, but you definitely need to be registered as soon as possible. And I do know that this will be an event for the ages. Just what little I know about it, I am so ridiculously jealous that you get to go. I'm not going. Feels like Africa all over again. I tell you what.
We've re-injured. Shoot.
Yeah,
I'm
you've
sorry.
opened up an old wound,
sorry,
man.
yeah.
I'm still not fully healed. And
tried to get you in my suitcase. I'm sorry.
I'm a big guy. That's a big suitcase.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Come on, OGO. You guys are up to the task, right?
Oh man. Yeah. Anyway, so
human-sized suitcase probably wouldn't sell well. Probably
human-sized suitcase.
Yeah, well, if you advertised it that way, I don't think it would. I don't think it would. I think they would track those sales.
Oh
online.
My goodness, they're gonna start branding their suitcase sizes by nationality. You know, here's a Japanese size. Here's an American size.
The American size. It's got 18 wheels on it. A Kevlar handle.
And a trucker up front just for
yeah.
Okay, I can't even take a drink of water. I'm worried I'm going to spit it out here right live on our podcast. So all right, so the regional season is upon us now.
Yes,
some of the things that you can look forward to at every regional will feature Mr. Bob Snyder, so the founder, the CEO of the company. He is going to come, and he has incredible. I was going to say unbelievable, but it's believable. It's an incredible training that is going to focus in on how we can accentuate our beliefs, how we can use our beliefs to then fuel our actions, and how we can start to create the results in our business, thereby using it, starting with our belief. And it's just an amazing training. I haven't even seen the whole thing. I know that he is still gathering information, and I won't tell you who, but I will tell you that we actually have an interview lined up. Me, Bob, and this other gentleman with a top income earning direct marketing guru from, oh man, he's awesome. Anyway, we're gonna glean some information here as well, and then he's gonna incorporate that into his training.
Well, I'm eager to hear that.
Dude, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun. But then, all right, so we've got Mr. Bob Steiner. We have Mr. Scott Rowe, who's also going to be going around to every single regional.
Yep.
And then we have, I know that Nancy and Eric are traveling to several of the regionals. I think they're going to 5 of them, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we have other miscellaneous PAC members that are going to be attending the different regionals. So
right.
Every regional will have a couple of PAC members there, 2 or 3, 4 or 5 maybe, depending on the regional. And then we've got market leaders from every single market that are going to be there in attendance as well. So you're going to be able to hear from like local regional leaders, you're going to be able to hear from national leaders, and you're going to be able to hear from the CEO of the company at every regional.
That's awesome.
It's going to be, I tell you what, we tell you guys this often, right? Our millions of listeners online. We tell you that there are 2 events that are must attend events every single year. It's the regionals and the nationals. And then right behind that, number 3 is the leaders retreat.
Yeah.
Those are the events that are must-attend events that we try to schedule as far in advance as we possibly can to give you guys all the lead time that you need to make sure you are there. Now,
could not agree more.
What if we are doing 6 regionals only this year? So what if I live in a state or a location that is not hosting a regional? What do I do?
You drive to it. You go to it. You find a way to get there. These, we've talked about it before, right? The head to the heart. But the regionals and nationals are really events that take the business from your head to your heart, and they really are phenomenal closing or people that might be an ICM and that's it, or they might have their essentials and that's it. Get them to those events. Get them to regionals. I can tell you, I made a lot of sales off of nationals and regionals, and so I get really excited just about it because I watched what people did with it.
Yeah.
I watched their lives change.
Yep.
You get so many. There's a lot of stories. The one that comes to mind is Bob Tierney's. He's going to tell you, and I'm sure many have heard it. If you haven't, I'm sure you'll get that opportunity hopefully soon. But, his going to nationals and going to regionals events are, he illustrates it in such a way that you really see how the business went from his head to his heart. But I can tell you that's exactly what happened for me, right? Like
Right.
I started working here in customer service in 2014. And it was the regional in 2015 where I was like, I finally saw the whole picture of Renatus. I finally got it, right?
That's one of my favorite things to ask anybody that comes and works here, because they're just super enthusiastic about the atmosphere, about the landscape of what we do and how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they attend the national conference or they attend a regional, and they're like, oh.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's when you see an award ceremony and you get to see how many lives have been changed because of what people have learned. Running the numbers from the Walk of Fame.
Okay, hang on. Wait for it.
Oh my gosh.
Because I want to bring that point up here in just a minute. But one of the points that you made earlier is about watching lives change.
Yes.
That's what Renatus is all about. It's all about empowering people to harness the tools that are available to them to change their own lives. And as we go to the regional, go to the national, you can see that belief in people's eyes.
Yes.
When they go from thinking this is a good idea and I'm happy that they can do it, to saying this is a good idea and I will do it.
Yes. 100%. When they start to believe and see the vision and see the dream themselves.
Oh yeah.
They're no longer sold on others. It's a beautiful thing. It gets me it kind of hits me right in the heart, because when I see those people, I see that transformation take place. I see people give license, if you will, to their dreams, and they start to do things to put that dream into place and make that happen.
And I know you've seen this as well, but I love when people they're stuck, right? They're stuck in their day-to-day or their whatever, and all of a sudden they get to the regional, they get to the national conference, and they start to take off the blinders.
Mm-hmm.
And they start with this dream, right?
Yeah.
Whatever this dream is. And then we get to watch as the evolution of this dream goes from this to becoming this to becoming this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they start to realize what kind of potential they really have.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to a little bit of the conversation that I walked in on when you and our guest were talking as I walked in, just talking about how people are people.
Yeah. Yep. People are just humans, man, and it's really fun to see what happens when people come down to the regional, when they make it to the national. It's worth that sacrifice. It's worth that drive. I myself would be driving 9 hours to make it to one of these regionals. So, perfectly fine by me.
That's incredible. And I agree. Every single person, you should drive, fly, crawl if you absolutely had to.
Unbroken glass.
Oh my gosh, in cutoffs. Who calls them cutoffs anymore?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, that's a Bob Tierney quote that I hear all the time. Yeah, I would drive over, or I would crawl over busted glass and cutoffs to get there.
And he would.
And he totally would.
So.
And he'd do it with a smile on his face. But if you are anywhere near a regional, if you are available in any way, shape, or form to participate, then do it.
Get there, and get your people there.
Yes.
Because I have personally experienced going to a national and a regional where you didn't bring everybody that you thought you should, and it's such a phenomenal event that you get to the back end of it and you're like, words will not describe what I cannot repeat this and tell somebody and have them fully understand what this was, and you're just kicking yourself because they're not there. So Yeah, I've
Dude,
experienced that
stings.
regret. It's a very it stings, and so don't do that. Don't make that mistake.
Yeah.
Bring everybody you can bring. I promise you, it'll be worth it.
Don't limit other people's potential, their success, even their opportunity to say yes or no. Don't take that away from them. Give them that opportunity, and they will surprise you with how capable they are. And then as you go and attend this event, you'll realize, oh man, not only can I do big things, but I can be a little part of empowering somebody else to do a big thing as well.
Yeah.
And that's Don't be that guy who walks away going, man, if I'd known it was going to be this good, I would have brought everybody.
I've done it.
We get that at the end of every national conference, every regional. Everyone always walks away and they say, man, I wish I would have known. So just take my advice. Trust me. It will be worth it. Go and don't go alone. Bring anybody that you possibly can with you to benefit from the experience. And we're kicking it all off in Denver, Boulder, Colorado. That really nice place next to us.
Yeah. Yeah, with clean air and beautiful trees.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I love Colorado.
Yep.
But Colorado is going to be the very first of our regional series. And the fun part is after the first regional, we always get on a pack call together, and the pack's always talking about all the great things that happen.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we always go into that where the bar is. And this one is going to set the bar.
I'm
super
very
high.
much looking forward to this one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really what's new and exciting that's coming up in Renatus over in the next several weeks. I want to not take any more time away from talking with our featured guest.
Yeah.
And how about we tag team the intro here? I'll
Let's
give a
do
little
that.
bit, and then
Let's
I'll
do
turn it
that.
over to you. You bring him out.
Yes.
So let me tell you just a little bit about our guest. I have not known him for very long, but as I was at the Leaders Retreat, I not only got to spend really, really cool quality one-on-one time with him, but I got to learn from him as a participant in the training that we did. And I will not overstate this when I say that he changed my life. The very first thing he said as he came out on the stage changed my life. It changed my perspective. It changed the way that I focus on my relationships and my own perception of myself. He did that inside of the first 30 seconds of being on stage. I cannot wait to have him here on the podcast now and see what he can do with the time that we have available.
Agreed. Yeah, this I met him in Africa, actually, right? That was the first place that I met this individual. I saw him on the list, and I was like, who's this? And my dad was like, oh, you'll love him. He's great, right? And talking about... And we got to share a vehicle for 9 to 13 hours a day, every day for 2 weeks. And you really get to know somebody. And I got to say, he earned my respect. He earned my trust and my respect, which is not easily won over. It's not something that I just, it's one of those things where I trust but verify, right? I'm careful about, like, who am I going to entrust with things. And I've seen this man be honest in situations where he could have easily not been. And that really meant a lot to me. And so I really love this guy. Let's bring out Greg Kimball.
Mr. Greg Kimball, welcome to the show.
We don't have a studio
I
audience
jazz
here.
hands or something.
There you go. There you go. I'll give them to you.
Absolutely,
you guys so
man.
much.
It's good to have you out.
Thank you. Well, it's just a good to be a part of the team and the family, and the fact that it's one of those things where a lot of times, and you guys have probably experienced this too, where when you're watching the Wizard of Oz, if you will, and you pull back the curtain and you see kind of what's behind it, you're like, it's really cool, because I got introduced to Renatus, and then because I got access to Bob Snyder and Matt, and I got one-on-one time with Jay, I really got to pull back the curtain. And it's like one of the only companies in a really long time where it actually gets better behind the curtain. And I was like, so rad. Like, how, like, are you sure? Like, I kept like kind of pinching myself because it's like I do so much corporate training and coaching for businesses, and some that'll call me up and I'll fly out and we're getting ready to do some things, and we look under the hood of this vehicle and I'm like, have you ever changed your oil? Oh my goodness. And it was just so refreshing to hear the ideas and the heart and the why behind the existence of Renatus and how it, really empowers and equips people. And I've been in the education system for a really long time. I have my own colleges that I started. And so I'm very passionate about education. My entire family's been in education. And watching people get equipped with knowledge that is needed and necessary is very refreshing, number one. But one of the things that I talk to people a lot about is, people say, Greg, what do you do for a living? And I always say, I raise people's awareness because a lot of people don't know what's possible. And in so many ways, Renatus is doing the same thing, is they're raising people's awareness of how their entire destiny can change, and not just their destiny, like literally generational wealth and things that can happen. But here's the really cool thing is it raises awareness so people know what's possible, but then it gives the tool set to turn possible into probable. And that's when it all clicked for me, because it's not just, oh yeah, you can use these vehicles of wealth building and this can help you with financing, and this, it's not just making you aware that it exists. It's also saying, okay, cool, this exists. Now here's how you do any of those things that you want to implement, and how you can do it, who you can do it with. And it gives you probably the best community that I've ever been a part of. And it's just so amazing. I actually brought down some of my clients that I coach from Canada. They joined Renatus. They came out to the leaders retreat, and they were absolutely blown away because it actually, two reasons, which I find so hilarious. First and foremost, they said, we got down there and we were talking to all these Renatus people, and because they're from Canada, they were like, none of them were American. And I'm like, most of them were American. And they're like, no, like, you don't understand, like the news and the things that we watch, like, I'm like, no, there's actually a lot more of those kinds of people in America than you think. And so it was so funny for them to say, like, they're inclusive and they're helping, and it's not all about this, braggadocious, like, bravado that everyone thinks Americans have. There's an amount of humility and caring and compassion that comes with this community that I think, regardless of any culture or nationality or country, is unfortunately very rare. And so the more people that get exposed to that are going to be more likely to spread that kind of community. And it was just so interesting to get their feedback after the leadership retreat, because they were just like, wait, this exists? Like, and they literally were asking me, how does everybody not know about this? I said, you should tell somebody.
Tell everybody. Tell everyone you know. And bring them to the regional.
And bring them to the, and I'm just going to add one thing, about the regional side of things that, I think that it's a little sad that, it's like pulling teeth to get people to come to such a community event that is literally an inflection point that can absolutely change your life. And I can honestly say one thing that I tell everybody all the time. I say, you are one conversation away from changing your entire life. If you think back to it, like the fact that, Jay had a conversation with Bob Snyder at some point, both of their lives are absolutely changed forever in such an incredible way. But what if one was scared to have the conversation, or didn't want to, or just thought, oh, it wasn't the right time? And it's just interesting to start recognizing how important the power of conversation is. And I actually don't think that people should come to a regional. I challenge everyone to find a way to come to multiple regionals. And the reason why I say that is because conversations absolutely changed my life. And I remember we bought my house and, we got an absolute great deal on it. Well, I thought at the time. Turns out, yes, we did get a good deal on it. It was $1 million. We had to end up buying it straight up cash because there were 6 people behind us, all these different things. And then we had to refi it and do all of these things. But it used all the money I had at the time, like literally every penny. And when I say every penny, like I had to borrow like an extra $70-some thousand to make up the delta just so that I could get the house. But then I was at zero. And then I have this 10,000 square foot house and 3 acres of property. And I'm like, yay, house, this is going to be rad. I didn't realize that it was in foreclosure and it had over 100 freeze breaks. And, there was a lot of, I took an adventure. Let's just say if I would have had Renatus then, I would have been so much better equipped. But the thing that changed my life in such an incredible way is because all of our money was tied up in this house. We're trying to get refied because we found out that the house was worth about 1.7. But when the inspector came through, we had to get all this stuff fixed before he could come through and actually give us a real appraisal. So I did a deal. I was still doing business consulting, and I was doing a lot of media work for people. So we'd shoot commercials and do all these things. And I landed a $50,000 deal. And my wife was like, yes, cars not getting repossessed. This is going to be rad. Awesome. Phones are going to stay on. Yay, we can buy appliances. Like, literally, this is what she thought. But what does Greg do? I went and joined Boulder Country Club. And I spent all 50 grand on the initiation fee because here's the thing that I think people need to understand. If you want money, you actually don't have a money problem. You have a people problem. People have the money, so you have to go have more conversations. And when I was thinking about it, I'm like, everyone I know thinks that $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 is a lot of money. I need to go talk to people who, by the same percentage margin, $10,000 is a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
So I got to go to a place where people are going to be like, just so I can hang out here, I'm going to spend 50 grand. But here's the thing that happened. I met a ton of my current clients there. I actually met Julie Dale, who brought me into Renatus. So if I hadn't have made that decision, there's a good chance I wouldn't even be talking to everyone here today. And the conversations I've had by being around those kinds of people have absolutely changed my entire life. And so here's the thing that I want to actually challenge everyone to do is don't just go to one regional because, yeah, that's going to be your market. Go find another one as well to go to. So go support your local market and then just pick one of the regionals and head out to Chicago or go check out Salt Lake because you're expanding your network. You're expanding more people that you can hop on the phone with. You're expanding the stories, the experiences, and most importantly, you're expanding all of the backlog of life experience you have to be able to have interesting conversations. And that's really what this boils down to is have more conversations. And if you don't know who to have a conversation with, go get around people like Bob Tierney, get around people like Nate Lambert, get around people like Zach and Samari. These kinds of people, the only difference between them and most other people is actually not necessarily process. It's their ability to have a conversation. And where they see just a normal conversation, most other people are seeing an uncomfortable moment. That's it. So you have to do what I call master the stranger. So when you see a stranger, that's literally just a friend that you haven't met yet. And if you can just approach people in that way to have a conversation with them and just say, hey, how are you doing today? Hey, what's going on? But actually care, ask questions, not just how are you doing today so that I can find an in to try to get something out of you. No. Give, ask. And that's kind of my rule. I always try to say, how can I give, then I'll ask for something. But people need to know that you're in it to make everybody win. And the best way, I'm telling you, if anyone out there is going, why is my business stalled? You're not having enough conversations, and you're not actually doubling down on the community. And when I say actually doubling down on the community, I'm saying show up for your weekly meeting, invite at least one person. I'm saying actually show up to the founders webinar, actually show up and support this community, because the only reason people out there who might go, oh, well, they actually don't really care about me. No, that's actually not true. They just don't know who you are because you never show up. And that's what's actually going on. And I've helped so many people go from here to there just by that simple thing, is because so many people take these weird random thoughts that they invented personally, and they're like, oh, my community doesn't care about me. No. They literally, it's out of sight, out of mind. If you don't show up, they don't know you exist. So if you want to exist, you have to exist. And so that means showing up. That means doing the work. You can't get mad about not getting results for work you didn't do. And it's just true. And so if we can double down, I'm telling you, instead of doing the whole blame game of, oh, it doesn't work, or it's this, or it's that, all I want you to do is go have a conversation, at least one a day. Everyone can have one a day. Like, if you told me to have one conversation a day, I would be cutting my quota down by 50.
I believe that.
I don't care who you are. I want to talk to you. I want to see what's going on. But the biggest thing is if you want the community to really show its actual power, you have to be a part of it. You have to be a part of it. And I talked about this when I was training at the Leaders Retreat, is today, people are confusing the difference between a crowd and a community. They're two different things. A community is back and forth action. It's relational. A crowd is just some people who are gathered and no one actually knows why. People are just following the masses. But that's the thing, is when you really double down on this community, and I took a little bit, like Julie Dale had to hit me in the head a few times to actually double down on this community. And I'll tell you, the difference in the community of me doing anything and me doing nothing, it turns out it's really different. Because people know who I am, because they're like, oh, this is cool. Oh, you show up. Oh, you serve. Oh, you're doing this. It's not like, I love the saying, good givers make great getters. And if you can start out by giving back to the community, and I loved what Jay said, you cannot take people's decision out of their hands by saying, oh, they're not ready. You don't know that. You don't know that. Oh, well, no, I just don't think it's the right time. Did they tell you it's not the right time? Because if it's not the right time, then when will it be? Because you're actually providing the excuse. Why? Because you're scared. They're not scared.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, is I want people to really double down on this community. And that's what we've been doing in Denver, is we have been, providing workshops. I did a speakers training for everyone, because I realized, because I was actually talking to Bob Snyder, and he was asking, what do you think the biggest miss that is happening in the community as you're kind of an outsider coming in and you're watching the way people, and I said, it's the art of the conversation. People don't know how to have a conversation anymore. And I think it's a little bit because we've been in such isolation from the pandemic. We went onto our screens, we went onto this, and now it's like, oh my God, I have to be in front of a human. What do I do? They get all weird. And it's just, you have to go through these processes of connection again. And one of the things, and I'll just give everyone I have a formula called 3 C's. And the 3 C's are concept, connect, and close. Every single person inside of them has a concept of them persevering, overcoming, equipping. They have a story that is uniquely theirs, that is an incredible way to in an analogy, explain what Renatus has done, what they have done, what has happened. And because you're going to use a concept, not a script, a concept that's uniquely personal to you, you're going to be able to connect with the people. And when you connect with someone, it's much easier to close them on some sort of objective. And here's the big thing that people need to remember. The close isn't always money in the bank. Sure, that's always nice, but your close might be, like, people need to learn how to do baby steps instead of always swinging. So it's like your close might be just get them to the community, get them to regionals, get them to a meeting. Your close might be get them to coffee with you. But you're going to use some sort of concept, then you actually have to connect with them, and then you actually have to ask for a next step. But so many people have a concept, they'll just say it, but it sounds more like a proud moment, then they never connect with the person, they never ask for a next step. Or people just want to stay in Starbucks land and just connect all day long, and they're connecting through scripts and all these things that are inauthentic or not genuine. So people don't actually care, and then they still don't ask for the next step. And then the worst thing that people do who don't want to do the human element, they're just like, hey, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to rock and roll? They're like, who are you? It's this step. Have a concept, then connect, and then close. And the reason why a concept that is uniquely yours is so important is because so many people who read off of a script are trying to prove something. So it's like they're reading a monologue and they're in theater in high school. And so they're trying to prove themselves as an actor, prove themselves as a salesman, prove themselves as a this. And one thing that I tell all of my clients is all those points in your life where you're trying to prove something, let's add a couple letters and let's just approve yourself. Because if you use a concept that's uniquely yours, the reason why it's so easy to come out of your mouth is because you don't have to prove it because it's true to you. It's real. It's coming from your heart. So you've already approved it. So they're going to feel the connection because you're not trying to prove yourself.
Yeah,
and that's
forced.
It's not forced. And that's the big thing. We get into the land of validation anytime we come into another human that we don't already trust. And so we're validating, this is why I'm this is what I've done, this, and validation. And I'll tell you, if you want to be a great salesperson, get out of the land of validation as fast as possible and get into the land of clarification. We want people to be very clear on who we are and what we do and what's going on so that no one ever feels hoodwinked, that it's always a win-win. And that's why, the first thing that I always tell people is the fastest way to get rich quick is to is to not try to get rich quick. And people need to learn that.
I've never heard that. That's beautiful.
What?
Say that again.
The fastest way to get rich quick is to not try to get rich quick.
It's so true.
Everyone is just trying to speed up the game. I call them, I actually have a retreat that is happening right before regionals. And the reason, so we actually capitalize our RE because what I realized is everyone is an ER. They want something faster, better, newer, bigger. Everyone's always talking about some sort of ER. Mm-hmm. They just want an life. And what I actually say is let's do a retreat and let's reconnect, let's rewire, let's reimagine. Someone, told me that Renatus means rebirth. These words are so powerful in our life. But if we're always trying to accelerate our life, it's a little bit like trying to launch your future from the future. So you're hitting two moving targets. So let's actually figure out where you're actually at. Let's get stable ground. Let's build a great foundation. And the best foundations come from two places, education and community. Sounds a lot like Renatus, which is also a reword. So the thing that people need to understand is if you double down on the community, you're going to change your life. If you double down on the classes, the education, you're going to change your life. And And the great thing about the Renatus education that I wish more people could like lock into is because if you're only, let's say that you're an ICM and you're like, look, I just want to crush it. I don't want to necessarily, I know the classes are valuable, but I don't want to double down on the classes because I really just, this is my business. I don't want to do real estate. I just believe in real estate, but my vehicle is actually Renatus. But let me tell you why you still need to take your classes, because if you get educated properly, you can have much more profound conversations because you know what you're talking about inside the education. And I've run into a few ICMs like that at nationals, even here in our backyard in Denver. And they're just like, I don't actually need to double down on it because I really just want to focus on selling the education. And I'm like, if you can have more conversations about your competency around the education, you're going to sell more education. And I'm telling you, this stuff works. And if you oops yourself into a deal, now, we fast forward, I bought my house for $1 million. We refied it for $1.7 million. And that was like 6 months later after we got everything fixed. We just got it appraised and it's $4 million now. So anyone who does not think that real estate works maybe doesn't pay attention to, well, anything that lasts and generates wealth and is the real deal. And if you can get on board with an understanding of this and then taking it even further with Renatus having so much more than the real estate side of things, but great financial education in trust, tax and legal, and helping things. Like, it was literally blowing my mind as I was like watching The Essentials. I was like getting mad at high school because I'm like, this, like, the Essentials class should just replace everyone's senior year, in my opinion. I think it should be mandatory. If Biden wants to do something really good for the US, make the Essentials course mandatory for anybody 18 and younger. Like, you're not allowed to go to college until you have that done. Can you imagine how much better the country would be? Oh my goodness.
Man, I totally agree. But,
God forbid financial literacy for everybody. That would be weird.
Yeah. I'm sitting here just taking notes, listening to you. Just oh man. I love it. I love what you're talking about, and I love the way that you're having this conversation, because you have pointed to being authentic, and you're pointing at not the technique but the principle. Once you understand and can embody the principle, then the technique will just come because you're being authentic. Nobody gets mad at an authentic person. They may not agree with you, but they're not mad at you.
It's absolutely true. And I think, and that's one thing that, like, just with watching what's going on in the world today, if everybody wants to immediately increase their quality of life, I'm going to tell you, this is a life hack right here. Seek insight, not agreement. So many people are only trying to talk about agreement because it's like, this is my way, this is my way, this is my way. And they're only listening so that they can respond. They're not listening to actually understand the person. But if you can just go, okay, cool, let me get some insight on why this person thinks this way. Let me get some insight on why this person, because, when you run in, especially in direct marketing, you get all the people who are like, oh, that's a scam. Oh, that's a this. And I'm just like, I'm not the one in the scam, man. You literally, you work for $15 an hour and you think that you have stability. Like, I'm not the person in the scam. And it's just interesting, all the things that people will throw at you. But instead of trying to debate them and get them to agree with you, start asking questions, get insight on why they think. Maybe there's a family member that got burned. Maybe there's someone who tried something like this and they didn't do any of the work, and then they blame that, and that's the only information they have. So the big thing is just have a conversation about why do they think that way, instead of these rebuttals and, and I don't know if, like, again, this is me being authentic and just saying what I think. So I don't know if you guys tell people to say this. I haven't heard it yet, but this is what all MLM type things, direct sales say, is anyone says, is this one of those pyramid things? And they're like, oh, you mean like corporate America? It's like, no, that you're going into like validation and you're going into an explanation. No, just be like, no, it's not. And I would like, if you could give me the opportunity, and instead of saying to explain it to you, say this: if you could give me the opportunity to understand why that was your reaction, I would really like to better understand what's going on in the way that I tried to present this that elicited that response. And if you could, like, literally, I don't even care if you buy from me, but if you can help me understand why you think that based on the information I gave you, you would literally do me the biggest service in my business so that I could help other people not draw that same conclusion. And then they're going to think they're the smart person, because we know how integrity driven Renatus is. And then as they present all of their facts, we can now help them. Oh, well, that actually isn't true over here. Oh, that's actually not true over here. Oh, Renatus actually does it this way. And they're going to, by the end of it, there's no way they're not like, holy crap, this is really cool. And that's the thing that I did, because I'll tell you, everybody who has been in direct sales, like it's like I have all of them like with sniper scopes on my back. So I get hit up all the time. And I'm just like, no, leave me alone. I don't want to do it. Stop calling me. And that's why, like, literally I told Julie Dale, I told her no for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. And I'll tell you, I went on tour with Sharon Lecter, and she was speaking on the founders webinar. Julie snapped a picture of her. And this is someone, you know, she helped write the 14 books that made Rich Dad Poor Dad the empire that it is. Right. I mean, she's the real brains and engine behind Robert Kiyosaki. And so Julie snaps a picture, and I mean, Sharon is a very good friend of mine. She's actually coming to my house for 3 days at my retreat. So, like, we are very, very close. And so I said, okay, I'm going to figure out about this stupid Renatus thing. Like, let's figure out what she actually says. So I called her up and I said, hey, one of my friends saw that we were on tour together, and you were on their founders webinar. Tell what's actually going on here. And she responded, said, Greg, with what you're doing in real estate and how heavy you're engaging in it, it is the best education that you can possibly equip yourself with. She said that Bob Snyder is one of her dear friends that has the highest integrity of any business person that she has come into contact with. And so then I said, because we're close like this, I said, okay, but how much are they paying you? Like, are they dropping, you know, $50K like these other people are so that you're going to show up? She said, no, Greg, most of the stuff I actually do for free, because I really desperately want people to choose the right real estate education company, because I know what's happening at Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know what they're doing behind the scenes. And if I can do anything to help people make the better decision that is going to equip them at a higher level, I want to do my part, because she is one of the biggest advocates for financial literacy for Americans. And it was so eye-opening. I literally went back to Julie Dale and I said, I will take everything. And she's like, well, you don't just want the essentials? I'm like, everything. Also, we should tell people, when people say everything, send them the invoice. Get it done. Get it done. It's not, are you sure? No,
you don't got to tell me twice. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, but I'll tell you, and even to this day, and it was really, really eye-opening for me, just watching her. And you can always tell when people care about something, because like the way she lit up and the way she got excited about what Renatus was doing behind the scenes and how it was equipping people with the right information. And I think that's another thing that if we have to understand in today's day and age, we are drowning in information and starving for wisdom. And when you realize that, so many people are like, oh, I can learn everything that Renatus has to offer. I can learn it on YouTube. And, you know, I told someone the last time that I got told that, I said, that might be true, but you're literally going to have to watch 4,000 times as many hours as what Renatus has to find the information, and then you're still not going to have it focused in a cogent form of thought that equips you properly, so you don't actually know how to connect the dots. And that's the thing, is people are dumping just information. So sure, there's probably good stuff, but it's not focused. And people need to start understanding that training breeds knowledge and experience breeds wisdom. And so a lot of people can train and they can get knowledge, but we've got to be careful on what we're putting in our eyes and our ears, because just to be super clear, guys, like anybody who goes and tries to go to YouTube University, it's like 25% of it is completely made up. Like you are going to just get 25% of it is just absolutely actually false. The 25% of it's probably outdated. 25% of it's not applicable to your state. And then 25% of it might be good, but then of that 25%, how do you know? Yeah. And that's the thing, why Renatus is so powerful. You look at these practitioner instructors that remember that experience breeds wisdom. So it's not a person regurgitating a textbook like so many of these other courses that you can get online, which are actually laughable. But you're getting wisdom, people who've done it, people who've been in the weeds, people who came crashing down and built their business back up. And I always tell people, I said, the reason I stand in front of so many rooms and talk is not because I'm better than anybody. I've just had the guts to make more mistakes than everybody. And all I'm doing at the front of this room is to help people not make the same mistakes I did. So we need to teach people, instead of being in the ER mentality, which breeds speed, I want faster, instead of being addicted to speed, and here's what I would invite everybody to use, instead of being addicted to speed, get addicted to efficiency. And that's really what this is about, because I love I remember, so I'm getting ready to buy a commercial property and they want to do it subject to, they want to do all of this stuff with a note. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So what did I do? I went to my classes and I was just like, seller finance notes. What is this? I started watching classes on it. And then I asked Julie, hey, is there a community member that did this? Then, I asked Bob Tierney, is there a community member that did this? And so then I can get on the phone, not just with my great classes, but I can utilize the community and say, hey, I'm trying to get this accomplished. What are some of the red flags that I need to be worried about in this deal? That alone, like I was literally getting ready to sign over almost $100,000 as a down payment to get this thing done. And I didn't realize, with the way everything was going down, I would have basically had it not secured. It wouldn't have actually been in my name, and I wouldn't have actually had it if I didn't have the community save me $100,000. Well, now all of a sudden the $23,000 feels kind of cheap.
Yeah, it does.
Because that was one time, and I have 4 or 5 of examples just like that, where it not only saved me the right money because I had some wisdom, but it also made me some money. And then it restructured, like the Mark Kohler trifecta. That's so rad. Like, people need to get pumped about this kind of stuff. And that's why, like, we should be having conversations all the time, equipping people, not just with the classes, with this community. Because a lot of people are like, I don't want to go back to school. Yeah, but go get a study partner. Go find a learning partner and then, split it with them, and then, go to coffee an hour every week, watch videos, and then talk about what you just watched. Like, get creative about this, because we are at the right place at the right time and going back to the beginning, if we raise our awareness. And we just need to get aware of what's possible in our businesses, in our lives, in our families, in our integrity. And then we need to actually deploy and learn the tools so that we can turn the possible into the probable. So if someone out there wants to be $1 million a month person, that's possible. It's just you haven't equipped yourself with the tools yet to have that be a probable future for you. But I'll tell you, it's possible, but now you just need to get to work. And if you want 100,000 a month, if you want $1 million a year, it doesn't matter what your number is, but you have to have that goal, and then you have to get to work. And the only work that you have is conversation. And the beauty about like why I'm so attracted to Renatus is because I'm so high fulfillment in my coaching practice. And, you know, I actually, one of the reasons I love Renatus is because I just got so burnt out on business coaching and, you know, what is an LLC? Should I get one? I'm like, I don't want to have this conversation. Let's talk about mindset. I'm much better if I'm like a Tony Robbins vibe instead of a here, let me be your accountant vibe, pseudo like executive vibe. I just don't like it. So not only can I just immediately equip them with classes, but here's the thing that I would like people to start understanding is identify fulfillment in your life. So fulfillment, and I'm not talking about the Zen thing where you sit in a forest and do this. I'm talking about who fulfills your promises? Who fulfills it? Because if I'm going to coach you, I've got to get on Zoom. And if I said yes to you, I said no to everybody else. That means that is the highest fulfillment thing in my entire life. So if I say yes that I'm going to get on this podcast, I said no to absolutely everything in my life. It is a high fulfillment piece. So I have to love what I do when I coach, when I speak, when I train, which I absolutely do. I'll tell you, when I get off this call, I'm just going to be jazzed. You know, I'm going to be pumped up my own self because this is exciting stuff. But if you want to exponentially change your income, what if there was a thing where you could just have a conversation for an hour or two, and then there was, I don't know, another company that did all of the fulfillment and they split the money with you? Oh my God! It's amazing! That's what I want. That's amazing.
That's what I want too.
So if I want to increase my time, I'll just have more conversations, and then I let Renatus do all of the fulfillment. This sounds like a really good deal, and not just all the fulfillment. Hey, Greg, we're also going to split the money with you.
Yep.
Are you sure? Oh my! Like, how does everyone not go? I think I need some of that. Like, that's the thing, is identify the fulfillment in your life. And so many people, what they do is they have these high fulfillment things, and then they want to buy a boat, or they want to buy another car, they want to buy another house, and then they just get another pillar of their life, but it's another giant thing that is a ton of fulfillment.
Yeah.
Well, now you spend less time with your family, less time with this, and that's why building a team in Renatus is so important. That's why the ICM opportunity is so important. And that's why the art of the conversation is so important. And if you can help people understand that you can do this talking to people for 4 hours a week and build a real business that's probably going to replace any normal income, why in the world, again, going back to Jay's point, why would you want to take that opportunity away from them? That sounds way too selfish. And so we've got to have the conversation. So, all right, that's my last rant, for at least for a little bit.
Amen. Amen. It comes back to what you were talking about down in Costa Rica. I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I'm what I think you think I am, right? And so
Yeah.
I think what that did is it kind of hit me thinking, well, yeah, and now, you know, I'm looking at what I think other people think, or like subconsciously or whatever. And there's so many people, I think that, you know, everybody does this, right? Where they won't be interested. Now's not the right time, whatever it was. Right. But I'm putting that on them. They didn't say that.
Yeah. No, you're literally inventing that. And then you're turning them into the person that you created in your mind. And in their head, they're probably sitting there going, oh my God, I hate my job. I wish there was something else that could help me out. And God's like poking you in the heart, being like, dude, you should have a conversation. And then you're telling God, hey, no, it's not the right time.
He's like,
right
time. They'll probably think it's a pyramid scheme. Yeah, exactly, right?
Oh my goodness.
That is, oh, I love it. And I love the way that you've structured just a lot of your thoughts and how authentic you are. I love the way there were so many good one-liners in there, you know, about seeking insight, not agreement, about being addicted, not addicted to speed, but being addicted to efficiency, and man, it is easy to see why it is that you create such a massive wave of just value everywhere you go. And I love how you started the conversation. You give, and then you ask. And yeah, it's easy to see. But you truly, that comment right there, I am not what I think I am. I'm not what I think, or I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. It's like, man, that alone has just changed my perspective. It's changed my frame of mind, and it's given me a whole new way to interact with people. And again, just back to the point of not taking away people's opportunity. We can't make the decision for them. I mean, I've been married to my wife for 19 years, and I still can't guess what she's thinking. And I know
and you never will be able to.
Yeah. I concur.
And so who am I to guess what people that I don't even know or hardly know, how can I guess what they're thinking?
Right.
And take that away from them.
Exactly.
Mr. Kimball, sorry, go ahead.
Well, and one thing that everyone needs to know, so like my background is so before I became a speaker trainer, roughly 7 years ago, I was a singer. I was signed to Capitol. I had my own show in Vegas, and the colleges that I have are centered around media production, from lights to sound to everything. And so I'm the one running point on AV in the Denver regionals. So I'm telling you guys, if you want to see the way that we're going to kick this thing off, and you want to know the bar that Colorado wants to set, I'm going all out. I will be there. I'm speaking, and we are going to do things at such a high level, high value, and high vulnerability, so that you get the authentic stuff. And that's the thing. Trust comes when two things are present: value and vulnerability. And people need to know about, where you've been, where you're at, and where you're going. And if you're willing to be honest with them about that, then they can actually see the future is possible and probable with you in their life. And so we're going to do this at an incredibly high level, so much so I'm going to bring back my singing chops. We've actually we've written 3 Renatus songs.
Nice.
And after the awards banquet, we are going to perform them with a full band.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Mike Word's joining me.
Yes.
So
yes, dude. That's going to be awesome.
It's going to be so fun. So
I love it.
I really invite everyone to take the plunge and come and join this community, lock arms, link arms, and just, and especially in Boulder, just because both Julie and I are members of Boulder Country Club. We're hosting it at the country club, and we're providing all of the meals, not just a dinner. We're doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner for everybody, because we want to take care of everyone at an extraordinarily high level, because we are setting the bar at a high level, because we want to show people how committed we are to the community. And we want to leaders lead from the front, and they lead by an example. And that's what we want to have everyone see, what it looks like moving forward in our community, in our region, because we are going to be huge evangelists for what is possible if you can get into the right community and have the right education. And like I was telling Matt, all you have to do is education, conversation. That's it. If you want success in your life, education, conversation. And education, going deeper, is showing up, meeting the people, getting in the room, and get around the people that I promise you can and will change your life if you have an open mind and an open heart. So, move, like get your Lamborghinis if you have to, your Escalades, whatever you got to do. I need to see you there, and I want to personally help you get to whatever goal you are trying to get accomplished using the wonderful vehicle of Renatus, because we have found partners in Renatus, all of us that are ICMs, and that I'm telling you, it's a dream come true because of the way that it's fulfilled and the way that the money's split. I mean, this is an incredible opportunity. And the best way to do it, if you really want that crazy thing called mailbox money and you want to exponentially explode your life, is build some awesome teams. And teams are built through community. So come join the community, come see us in Denver, because I want to help each and every person in this community go to the next level, because I know that we're 11 years old in Renatus, but I feel so blessed to have found it now, because I know that I'm at the genesis. We're still at the beginning phases of what's possible. And, you know, I'm just another cog in the wheel that is going to turn what's possible into probable, and we're going to take this to the next level. So, you know, if you're a Chicago person, looks like your second regional that I'm inviting you to is Denver, so you better get it on the list. But I want to see as many people there so that we can lock arms and go there together. So I just wanted to say that this will be a unique experience for anyone and everyone that's willing to come.
Man, I could not. Wow, that was awesome.
You got Jay speaking in fragmented sentences over here. That was phenomenal.
I tell you what, it is. I love saying that Renatus rocks, and it's because of the people like you that are associated with it. Just the energy and the value that you bring, and just how passionate you are about adding to other people. I love it. I absolutely am honored that you joined us on the podcast today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for what you've shared. I'm going to have to go back and watch it so I can complete my notes. You were talking so fast, I couldn't write fast enough.
Oh, I for sure am going back and I like a minute into this, I was like, crap, I don't have a notebook, and I'm going back and I'm going to take notes on this. This was phenomenal. This was so value packed. There was so much real information that is applicable to everybody's situation, but I was thinking even my situation. So as you're going along, I'm just thinking, oh, I'm going to go back and I'm going to find that. Oh, there's a gem. I'm going to go back and I'm going to find that. And, oh, my gosh, there's another one. So, yeah, that was phenomenal.
Amazing. Well, Mr. Kimball, will you do me one favor?
Sure.
Say for me, Renatus rocks.
Renatus rocks!
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yes.